What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show. We discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and the stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date here. And also, thanks for hitting the like button for us down below. Also, at the end of this video, I will have two special guest appearances for you guys here in this video. So make sure to watch all the way to the end for our special guest appearances that you won't want to miss. So make sure to watch to the end. President Biden is over in Europe right now, and listen to what he said here yesterday. Check this out.
A dictator bent on rebuilding an empire will never erase a people's love for liberty. Brutality will never grind down their will to be free. Ukraine will never be a victory for Russia, for free people refused to live in a world of hopelessness and darkness. We will have a different future, a brighter future, rooted in democracy and principles, hope and light, of decency and dignity, of freedom and possibilities. For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
So Biden, as you can see the headline here, Biden declares that Putin, quote, cannot remain in power. As he says this here yesterday. You could let me know your thoughts here on this, and also what Russian President Putin might think of this, and what he might think of this threat here. Of course, you know, Putin literally threatens the rest of the world every single day. So, I mean, you can let me know your thoughts on this. The White House, you can see the White House attempted to walk this back a little bit, saying that, well, here's what they said. After Biden said, quote, for God's sake, this man cannot remain in power, as you just heard. Following the remarks, a White House official said that the comment was referring to Putin exercising power outside of Russia. Quote, the president's point was that Putin cannot be allowed to exercise power over his neighbors or the region. He was not discussing Putin's power in Russia or regime change, the official said in an email. Much of Biden's speech involved placing blame for the Russian invasion into Ukraine directly on Putin and delivering a plea to the Russian people that they not be welcoming or supportive of war. Of course, the Russian people will probably not even be able to see that speech because, well, Russia, like China, literally just blocks outside media. They control the media. They're a dictatorship. They're communism. So Russia has pretty much blocked most, if not all, outside media. And some people in Russia don't even know that there's a war going on. The other people think that they're rescuing the Ukraine people. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's similar to what happened with Hitler in World War II. A lot of people didn't even know what Hitler was up to until the war was over. And then they're like, are you serious? That's like, they had no idea what was actually happening. It's crazy. And honestly, in the pursuit of truth, you can also kind of question any government. You can question the American government. You can question the Ukraine government. You could question any government. But the thing here right now is that you can see actual footage, okay? You can see Russia bombing Ukraine. You can see them bombing hospitals. You can see them bombing maternity wards. You can see people fleeing, millions of people fleeing Ukraine. You can see the United Nations vote where all the countries except for just Russia and Belarus and a few, I think it was like 5 countries, and there was like 100 and like almost 150 countries that voted against the Russian invasion. So when the whole world is voting against you, then you kind of get the idea that who's right and who's wrong. It's not just one country's propaganda, right? So and that's where like looking at footage, seeing what's going on, hearing what's going on, it gives you a better idea. In Russia, they don't even get to see footage, right? So it kind of gives you an idea of better idea of what's actually happening, right? In fact, you could see here, this is a recent article from just 2 days ago. The United Nations just had a second vote. They have adopted a resolution demanding aid access and civilian protections in Ukraine and criticizing Russia for creating a dire humanitarian situation and demands Russia end Ukraine war. This is the United Nations. It is the second time the 193 member General Assembly, basically 193 countries in the world, voted for this. They adopted this resolution on Thursday, which was drafted by Ukraine and allies. 140 countries voted in favor of it. Only 5 countries voted against it: Russia, Syria, Belarus, which is a puppet country for Russia, North Korea. Interesting to see North Korea side with Russia, right? They're kind of another outcast. Entria, a country that most people probably have never even heard of, and Belarus. So there's your 5 countries. 38 countries, including China, abstained, basically just didn't want to vote and basically cast a vote of no vote, just want to stay neutral and not basically vote. So 140 votes yes, 5 votes no. So here's your 5 countries voting no, basically voting with Russia. Russia's one of them. So only 4 other countries voted with Russia, Belarus being a Russia controlled country. So there's really only 3 other countries there: Syria, North Korea, and Eritrea, which only has a population of about 6 million people. So just to give you an idea of how the world views this, just in case if you're wondering that. Meanwhile, for comparison, Trump yesterday, and I'll just read the headline here so I don't just give it to you. Trump says Putin smart, but made a big mistake invading Ukraine. Uh, here's what it says. Former President Donald Trump on Saturday repeated his praise of several authoritarian leaders, calling Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese leader Xi Jinping and North Korean dictator Kim Jong Un smart. And you can look this up and actually hear it. During a rally of Commerce, Georgia, in Commerce, Georgia, Trump referred to those authoritarian leaders as strong, saying the smartest ones get to the top. Trump said that China's Xi was smart because he runs 1.5 billion people with an iron fist. While he called North Korea's Kim tough, both Kim and Xi have been widely condemned by the international community for human rights abuses. Trump also repeated some praise for Putin while distancing himself from his previous remarks that seemed more fully supported of the Russian leader. Trump said, quote, "They asked me if Putin is smart. Yes, Putin was smart," he told a crowd of rally goers. After acknowledging that Putin had made a, quote, big mistake in attacking another country of its people, Trump said the Russian leader's massive buildup on the border ahead of the invasion appeared to be a great negotiation. Trump said, quote, "That's a hell of a way to negotiate. Put 200,000 troops on the border." Trump said, "That was a big mistake, but it looked like a great negotiation." That didn't work out too well for him. Trump had previously called Putin very savvy after the Russian president declared he would recognize 2 separatist regions in eastern Ukraine as independent days before invading, which drew criticism from both Republicans and Democrats. Trump later attempted to walk those comments back and has condemned the invasion. Yeah, you can let me know your thoughts here. This is very relevant because, well, Trump and Putin were pretty close literally just a year ago when Trump was still president. And remember that for the next election, that is the most likely rematch would be Biden versus Trump, assuming that Biden runs again and that Trump runs again. So remember, they're both pretty up there in age, and assuming that they both decide to rerun again, and that that actually happens. So you can let me know your thoughts here on both of their comments regarding Putin and the state of our country and the state of Russia and how this is going to play out. Because honestly, it doesn't look like the war in Russia and Ukraine and affecting us here in our country is going to stop anytime soon. But one thing is pretty clear right now, both lawmakers in Congress, the House and the Senate, are both pro against Russia. Current voting and giving aid money to Ukraine and voting for protecting Ukraine from the United States and from all the other countries basically in Europe have overwhelmingly been against Russia and helping Ukraine, both from the United States here, from Democratic and Republican lawmakers, including Mitch McConnell, which is kind of the leader of the Republican Party right now, who's actually in power. Because Trump's not really in a position right now. I mean, some people would say he's leader of the Republican Party, maybe, but he's not really in a seat per se. Where Mitch McConnell's leader of the Republicans in the Senate. You also got Kevin McCarthy in the House. So Mitch McConnell has just recently said that we should continue to support Ukraine no matter what. But it's just a tricky situation, and the question is, how long is this going to go on? How long is this going to keep gas prices high? How long is this going to keep inflation high? And is this going to eventually lead to World War III, or can we somehow stop Putin? All these are good questions, or is the guy just literally going to continue on until somebody forces him to stop? And meanwhile, according to new data, a third of Americans expect their finances to get worse this year. And really, a lot of this is due to inflation. And you think about how bad already a lot of our population already is. 63% of Americans are already living paycheck to paycheck or actually behind on bills, can't pay their bills already. So now you think that, according to a recent data, a third of Americans expect their finances to get worse this year. New data from the University of Michigan reveals a large swath of the population bracing for a tougher time ahead. 32% of surveyed adults expect their finances to worsen over the next 12 months, the university's survey said in a Friday report. That's the largest recorded share since the survey started in the mid 1940s, which actually goes back to World War II. So it's actually, you go back to a very eerily similar time. Yeah. Half of surveyed households anticipate their inflation adjusted incomes to drop throughout the year, according to report, meaning inflation will actually outpace their wage growth. And for people on Social Security, they're actually seeing that happen right now as well. Americans' overall mood broadly worsened over the past month as well, according to the University of Michigan. Consumer sentiment sank to 59.4 from 62.8 in March. That's also down from a year ago reading of 84.9. It marks the most pessimistic sentiment in nearly 11 years. The only two periods of to feature bleaker financial sentiments since the survey was first conducted were the recessions of the early 1980 and the Great Recession. So this shows you how bleak Americans think right now. And what I was mentioning here is, like people on Social Security or anybody getting payments under the Social Security umbrella, SSI, SSDI, VA, RRB, or regular Social Security. Remember, your COLA raise last year was 5.9%. But last month's inflation was 7.9%, and March's inflation is expected to be 8%, 8 point something percent, or maybe even higher, 9%. Who knows? Because that's when we've seen the dramatic increase of gas and everything else, because that didn't start till March. So inflation is actually even worse now. So you got a 5.9% increase to start the year, and inflation is now 7.9% or higher. So exactly what they're talking about is actually happening for everybody on Social Security. Inflation is outpacing your income, your Social Security income, your SSI, SSDI, VA, RRB. So you're actually receiving, inflation is outpacing your wages, your growth, your the money you live on, and the child tax credits have they're gone. They're at least temporarily. Congress has not been able to pass it, and a lot of people blame one guy, Senator Joe Manchin, who says he's now on board for the new package, uh, which they're discussing right now. So they're also discussing more stimulus checks in the form of anti-inflation stimulus checks. If you've been watching my show, they're discussing that on the federal level and the state level. I'll link you to a video here in a moment after a special guest. But yeah, so there's a lot going on here, and this is part of the whole problem. So we'll discuss that here in future episodes. But without further ado, here is our special guest. All right, guys, we're here with my beautiful wife, Laurel, who's
Hi.
also the editor of all of our videos and the newest member of our family, our new little kitten,
Yeah.
who we haven't quite decided on the name yet, but he is a boy. Um, if you know, we mentioned it a few times, but our previous cat, Leo, he unfortunately passed away here recently. He was 15 years old, and yeah,
It was just his time.
yeah, it was his time. But this is our new little kitten. Um, Not sure. I think we're kind of leaning towards the name Snowy. Snowy. We like the name Snowball too, but I think Snowy's kind of like what we might call him for short. So I don't know. And yeah, tell me about the kitty a little bit, Laurel.
He just has the nicest personality. He sleeps right behind my head on the pillow. And anytime I leave the room, if he can't find me, he starts mewing this distress call because he can't find me and doesn't know where I am. And Lily's doing pretty decent with him. She growled or hissed at him a couple times on the first day, and then he really hasn't hissed at him since then. So I expect them to be playing a lot soon enough. Yeah, you're just the cutest little guy. He's getting squirmy.
Yeah, and yeah, so he's quite the little
He
character,
is.
and he's so tiny. It's hard to tell, but compared to tell him how he is
I
compared
used
to.
to think Lily was so small because she only weighs like 7 pounds and she's just really like short and stumpy.
But she's got a lot of fur,
She does. She has a lot of fur.
so she might look big, but she's not.
Well, when this one came home, it was like Lily's like a giant now. It made me realize how big she really is because she was always my baby because she was
Yeah,
the youngest one.
yeah, and he's kind of got
Yeah.
the little black like eyeliner,
Yeah.
and he's got it around his little mouth
Yeah, his
too.
mouth.
Kind of reminds me of like a polar bear
And
a little
anytime
bit.
you talk to him, he like talks back already.
You want to talk?
Huh?
Say meow,
No.
meow.
Says I'm excited right now. I want to go running. Come here, baby.
Oh,
Oh,
there
there
it
it
was.
was. Oh, and he's going now. Goodbye.
Yeah, in fact, you could see behind Laurel here this little the other way. Lean
What?
the other way.
What?
That little character from Star Wars behind
Porg?
you. Porg, is that what it was?
Yeah, it's Porg.
That reminds me, we just watched the ending of
Boba Fett, the book
Bob,
of Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. Man, those series are so good,
They
aren't
do
they?
those. They do those series such good justice.
Those are quickly becoming one of my favorite series.
And they have lots more coming out too on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's quite a bit more series coming up on some new Star Wars series as well. So if you guys are Star Wars fans, if you're not, you should start watching them because it's not just like the old Star Wars or anything like that. They really make them really well,
They do.
and
They do a very good job.
they're very well made, and they kind of weave into the old Star
They
Wars.
honor the old traditions, but they stay true to the old, but they make it new at the same time.
Uh-oh, someone's
Yeah, someone's here.
climbing up my leg. If you see my previous video where he just kind of climbed up me while I was filming.
Yeah, he's very attached.
But yeah, the Mandalorian, I love how they're weaving the Boba Fett story in with the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And they're weaving that in with the old Star Wars and the new Star Wars. And
it's just they're just doing a really wonderful job.
yeah, and if you're like an old Star Wars fan, you know, which a lot of that was kind of before my time. I mean,
in the early 80s.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in '81, so I mean, you know, it's just a wee little pup. I was just like,
Come on.
you know, but you know, so I didn't really watch those per se when I was so young. But I gotta say, those movies are really well made. They're on Disney Plus, um, you know, but really good.
Yeah, they are.
You know, they quickly becoming one of my favorite shows. You know, they remind me of I wouldn't say Game of Thrones, but what's the other show that's that you've liked watching here recently that just restarted?
The Last Kingdom on Netflix. Oh, I love that show.
That has a very Game of Thrones-esque flavor to it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Especially now they're kind of like vying for the kingdom.
Yeah. And I think it's based off a book, and I believe it's loosely based on real life. So
yeah, the kind of history of
Danes
the
and
United
Brits.
Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been interesting. But yeah, we got a new member of our family here.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me know your thoughts if you got any name suggestions or anything like that. And yeah, also we're gonna be starting our giveaway here.
Can't really see the box.
Our boxes here. I think we're gonna start it in the next video. So don't miss out on any new videos here. So yeah, that's our next giveaway starting, I think, in the next video. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, so make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so. And I will keep you up to date here. Details coming soon for that. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Click here to watch my video on all the recent states and federal stimulus checks that could be coming here soon. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next video.
Bye-bye.